Grand Risings, Grand Risings. Thank God for another day, no complaining, no crying. Dad Chad TV. It's your host from the East Coast, the West Side, but the South Side, Jamaica, Queens. Live from New York. New York, hashtag New York for President. Papa Stretch. Today, Friday, August 29th. And today, everybody, we're going to talk about when women hold kids for hostage. Yeah, fellas, a lot of y'all know what I'm talking about. When the women hold the kids for hostage. I'd have never thought I'd have been going through this situation, man. I've done a lot of things wrong in my life, world. But the way I did my kid situation, I kind of did it traditional and proper way. And who'd have thought I'd have been still going through this BS? Because I'm a man of my word, as y'all know from the last couple episodes, she has my kid's phone and blocked my number on their phone. But when it comes to making sure to send the money that for their hair to get done, because her friend has somebody she know have done it and they was okay with doing it until I got the money this Friday. You want to call, fight, complain, harass, and disrespect. Now, I'm going to be 100% honest. Because she been not letting me speak to my kids because of her feelings, may want to play professional or try to play grown in front of people when she think her friends are watching, and she like to make sure when the cameras is on and oh, it ain't about us, it's about the kids. But yet you mad because I hung up on you a few times because you disrespected, and I don't want disrespect or hear the disrespect. Now I can't speak to my kids on the phone, which I pay for every month because you're upset. But you can still muster up enough energy to call because that girl probably pressing for her money. Because I'm a man of my word and nobody deserves to do a job and not get paid for it. I sent it. Think she still had my kids call me? Nope. But I sat back for years and would not allow her when she tried to play that role with the other one for the short period of time she played it. That was just in the early days. Later on in the days, no matter what he didn't do, what he said, disrespect, even up to last year, she come to me complaining, talking about she asking for something and the nigga told her to get a job. However, he gets to speak to his child whenever he chooses to. Whether he chooses to or not my business. He just has the option. Here I am, 100% of my children's life, besides some days missed due to business, paying for a phone, bought the phone, and can't speak to my children because she's upset and in her feelings, and when she tells me to get out of my feelings. So now I basically call it being stuck up, held for hostage. Young fellas, y'all know what it is. She stuck it up. And I realized today is the last day that I'm going to play this role. I'm telling the world, for all y'all to see, babies, meaning baby and armadillo, when y'all see this and y'all old enough to go through these things, daddy's going to pull back a lot. Because it's at this point where I feel like millions of other men with just resources. It is important enough that I should be in my children's life and speak to them every day or whenever I choose to call, not according to her schedule or anybody's schedule, but maybe the kids. You think you get to censor me or put me on some weird schedule as the baby father who was in and out of the kid's life, because that's the same role she played. And when we got married, I no longer let her do that. When she was single, hey, I had no control. By the time we got married, God is the truth. She would ask me 1,000 times, should I let him go with his dad? Yes. Should I let him speak to his dad because he be in and out and I don't want to break him up? You know, the women use that excuse. Oh, you know, he's in and out and he ain't around. I don't want to hurt my kid's feeling. And I'm not saying it's right. But whether he comes once a year, twice a year, whatever it is, it's not your place. No woman to determine how much a man deal with his kids. That's his choice. Even if he makes the horrible decision to only do it in a small amount of time. You can't protect no kid's feeling. I told her, I said, listen, what's going to happen is he's going to tell his side of the story, and all this came true. He's going to tell his side of the story. He's going to say, your mom ain't let me see you. You think you're protecting him because he'll say one day it won't come, and this day won't come, and he's disappointed, and the kid is left disappointed. So y'all think, and I told women I know, my sisters and everyone, y'all think the answer is to not let the kid see at all. I said, listen, the kid sits next to you majority of the time. He's going to hear you say no. He's not going to hear the conversation. When he goes around the daddy eventually, the father's going to say, mommy won't let you see me. Now what happens is, there's no giving and telling what age, but at some point in time, the kid is going to come and say, mommy, why the hell you ain't letting me see my father? No matter how good the mother is or the stepfather or anybody treating them, children want to be with their father. I understood that. No matter how much I did for the boy, how much I embraced him as mine, I still never overstepped boundaries because I understood the long game. That's still that man's child. It doesn't matter how much I spend, money, time, whatever. I never believed I had more say-so than that man over his child. That's not my place, and it never will be. It never would have been. Unless that man wasn't alive and I adopted him. And she knows that's how I push. Maybe other niggas she dated was different, and I know a lot of dudes who get down like that, just the girl. But that wasn't me. And sure enough, one day he comes and it made her cry. Mommy, why you let me see my dad? That's messed up and da-da-da-da-da-da. She broke down crying and come to me. I said, I told you. I said, I would tell this to anybody. Let's even go to, if it was a mother's not around as much or a father not around as much, you gotta let a person take on his own challenges. We cannot absorb a person's problems because now you're perceived as a problem. And my dumb behind didn't follow information and still did it. But that's neither here or there in this episode. Point being, she asked me times, should he go down south to see his family? Yes. Should I do it? Let him see his father? This. I don't care what. Yes, 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 yes. My son old enough, he's old enough, he can say he'll tell you the truth. Never, ever. She asked me, should I put on child support? I said no. I said, unless you feel your son needs more in life than what I can provide, or his father just wants to will and give as a father, I said no. And she didn't. Because I wasn't that man. I wasn't trying to wedge in between no man and his relationship with his child. However much a father does or don't do, that is between them. Because even if I don't agree with the moves or the steps or how much a father does and how much effort, what I can agree and understand is circumstances. And before I know all the evidence and all the circumstances of why a person can't be around or give as much or whatever it is, I'm not going to make no judgment. Person live in another state might not be able to give much because they might not make much. All these things. That's just how I've always thought, even before we got together. She would never be able to tell nobody I promoted anything negative towards her son's father. Put him on child support, don't let him see his kid, no, none of it. Never whooped him, none of it. Paid for everything. Did all the things, all the time fatherly things. Never overstepped my boundaries. As he might have heard me in the room argue with his mother and heard me say negative things of his father, yes. Have I ever directly sat with that boy and disrespected him to his father? Never. When I would sit and talk to him, which we've had over 1 million talks, from the time he was 7, when we got married, probably even before that, because I've been around him since 2. Picking him up from precincts and picking up from here and from daycare since 2. But since we got married, no matter what I say and talk to him about, I mentioned his father. Don't mention me. Work hard, save your money, take care of your mother, your father, your siblings. Never mention me. Because that's that man's child. And no matter what the issue the father had with me, I try to make him understand. And whoever, I ain't got no issues with you, bro. I'm not trying to overstep my boundaries with your kid. I'll fill in if necessary because I don't never want to see no child without. I'll do that for anybody's child. Anybody that knows me from North Carolina to fucking New Hampshire will tell you that. I done bought jackets, clothes, things, all kind of, for all kind of people that I'm not related to, barely know. Because that's my nature. I feel for people when it's deserving. Fast forward, I can't speak to my kids unless she has the right attitude or she felt this is the day that I spoke to her in the nicest way. I did my best to help mend that situation to end up in the same situation. And he gets no energy. Not saying he should, but he still ain't motherfucking as good as me to this day if you're being frank about the situation. God bless my granddaddy. How did this work? How do you go from the savior to when you save enough, the person who needed you to save them for everything that the world gave to them, including people that say they love them as their own family, she can tell you years later that your saving was a ploy and a plot. Enough to convince herself to use the same despicable tactics she attempted to use with the first baby father, in which I would not allow. But now I'm facing them. I get it, but don't understand it. So I asked the question, how does the solution, once again, as I said it yesterday, how does the solution turn to the problem? How does the hero turn to the villain? How am I not allowed to speak to my children or see my children unless she's in the best possible state in which basically when she calls me, when she decides to reach out to me, because at this point I can't contact for the last week or 2 weeks. I gotta wait to be contacted. If I don't endure what she chooses to say to me, she can flip that like a lot of women doing nowadays and say, I'm fighting and arguing, and now this is enough to play whatever game. That's how sick their minds have become. They can start a problem, switch it to you, hold tight on that, use that as energy and ammo to continue to go forward in their ways. Fellas, where do we go to talk about this? Because if I attempt to express this to her, she's gonna call me a B, say I'm sassy. What kind of man speak about this, that, and third? Or you just tit for tat, or you always talk about something. Yep. So what is it to do? Hold on. That's my brother. Another good dad. I tell you, man, just be random, man. The dads just be around, bro. I hang out with nothing but dads. You heard? But what do a man do? I know there are men going through the same thing. I've always known men. Just like I tell you, she tried with the other. I know plenty of men can't see the kids until this, until that, until this, until that. Until you feel right. Until the dude takes what you want to say or do to him. Admits to being a horrible father because that's what you want to call him by your definition. So now you can't see the mother, father. You can't see the family. You can't come around special events. You can't speak to your kids. I told you, my kids just started school. Got to speak to them maybe 20 minutes total this week. Where is that fear in America? I was to say, screw it, I won't pay this phone bill tomorrow, tell me, would I be messed up? Because these are things she used early in our relationship too to try to say, oh well, I use my money against. She wouldn't cook, eat, clean, sex, none of these things above when mad. I always still took care of my business when mad. So when I start using the play against her, well, I'm not going to pay this or pay that or take care of this or do this. Now it's a tit for tat. Now I'm using my money against her. Now I'm a less of a human being. Now I'm trying to control her. But it's not controlling when she's not going to do her part when upset. Can't understand it. But we ain't going to break down. I still had a good day. I still ain't fighting, arguing, take it out on anybody in the world. And I ain't going to do it. And fellas, you're not going to do it. Because that's how they beat us. I've lost too many days. Not because I took it out on other people, because I just woke up in a funky ass fucking mood. Because this motherfucker playing games with my kids. Part of my language. You know, I don't really curse on here. But it's not happening, Captain. You ain't gonna break me down. I'm gonna get my nephew tomorrow, spend some time with him. Cause he gonna be my little soldier / robot. I'm gonna change his name. That's my boy. Do some laundry. I'm gonna get ready to go to work Sunday and Monday. Whenever she does decide to let me speak to my kids, I'm gonna speak to them. Till then, I'm not gonna call, harass, bother. Oh yeah, girl, call me this morning. Or I called this morning. Answer my kid's phone. Hey, let me speak to the kids. Nothing. It's third day in a row I done spoke to you early in the morning, and you want to argue and talk about everything under the sun, but not let me speak to these effing kids. The way the cookie crumbles, boy, when you take a bite. Make it not even want to eat it. Leave it right in the tray, you heard? But we're going to navigate through these waters of fatherhood, man. I'm telling y'all, man. Watch. This is going to reach enough people. We're going to empower each other, brothers. So we're going to get all these thoughts and feelings and energy out. And we're going to be strong through it. We're going to give when we have to give as for our children. And because their mothers play games and mix up the things they think is what they say on the strength of the kids, we're going to pull back on a lot of things. And we're going to put this information out so that way your kid will know the truth when the time comes. So they always come with the answers, and it might take some sacrifices, meaning for myself and all, it might be some time away from the kids, year, 2, whatever, who knows? Because we shouldn't be held on a string or manipulated to be the fathers they say just to be involved with these kids' lives. Sometimes there's casualties in war, and fatherhood is a war. Whether you're warring with the kids in the world to do the right thing, or you're warring with the baby mamas, but it's a war. And sometimes there's casualties. Unfortunately, it be the children. And not saying it should be equal, but it gotta be equal, because if they're not thinking about the kids in the war, in order to guarantee the win, and sometimes we gotta put the thoughts and feelings aside for these babies on the aside too. Pardon me. But that's the only way we'll be able to win the power over ourselves, power over your thoughts, your feelings, your finances, your future relationship. You know what I'm saying? How you dealing with other people. The hurt to not possibly be around your kids as much. But that stress of not dealing and being manipulated by your baby mama on the strength of them will possibly stop you from getting into a situation with somebody else in the world that could be detrimental to your world. And that definitely don't deserve it. Just because I'm able at this moment, and most of my life to be able to not flip on a lot of people, there are others who can't. Just like they're stronger in a lot of things that I'm weaker at. It's just the way the world works. However, we're coming together and talking and getting it out and expressing it and not being embarrassed or ashamed or feeling less of as a man to even say some of these things to other men will be the key. I promise. I promise. This is another one of Dad Chat TV, man. Papa Stretch. Love you guys, man. Help y'all navigate through these waters of fatherhood. Shout out to my babies, baby and Armadillo. Shout out to America, my home country, which I love. Shout out to the world. Shout out to New York. Break it down further. Shout out to Queens. Shout out to the South Side. Shout out to the West Side. It's Papa Stretch signing out. Love.